morning I want to speak to you about a radical disciple. What does it mean to be a radical disciple? The word radical is derived from a Latin word, which is radix, which means root. So one of the key meaning of radical is to return to the root. Someone who advocates and embraces the extreme measures to retain and restore what they believe is the truth. That is to be a radical. To be disciples is not to be just rhetorics like the politicians do. Friends, we need to have not only a language but also a life which will correspond the language that we are speaking. In an age of consumerism, in an age of compulsions and compromises, and so much of conformation to the things and the patterns of this world, God is calling the members of TCFC, each one of you, to be radical in your following the Lord Jesus Christ. You can never start the journey of discipleship focusing on self. Because when the center of gravity is me, the journey of discipleship can be very difficult. The center of gravity must shift from me to Jesus Christ. I want to quickly bring 3 principles for radical discipleship. Matthew chapter 4 and verses 4 to 10, the first principle is reject efficiency, choose obedience. Satan, in other words, was saying to the Lord Jesus Christ, you are the Son of God, right? And so you should definitely have the power to perform a miracle. Here is a great opportunity for you to prove to the world that you are the Son of God. Why should you remain hungry? Why should you remain tired? Come on, turn this stone into bread and eat it. Jesus knows very well who he is. He doesn't need to prove who he is by his efficiency. He doesn't have to. He can, because he's the one who turned the water into wine, who calmed the storms, who raised the dead, who healed the leper, the blind, the weak, and everyone. He can do that. He has the power of the nature. He has power over sickness. He has power over death. He is the creator. He brought everything out of nothing. Can't he turn the stone into bread? Definitely he can. But he knows he's at the command of his Father. He has to obey his Father. He's not just there to perform some miracles and prove his identity to the world. No, he is not there for that. Jesus chose obedience over efficiency. That does not mean that you don't have to be efficient. That does not mean you don't have to pursue excellence in life. You have to pursue excellence. You have to pursue efficiency. It is not at the cost of obeying the Father's will. I am not here. You are not here as a disciple to prove to the world who you are. We are here to prove to the world who Jesus is through our life. Efficiency many times brings pride and it manifests our self more. But obedience comes out of humility, and every obedience slices your self down. Choose obedience always. Secondly, Matthew chapter 4 verses 5 to 7. The second principle for being a radical disciple is reject immediacy and choose trust. This was the most suitable place ever in the whole Palestine to be standing on the top of the pinnacle of the temple and demonstrate that he is the Son of God who came from heaven. He's standing on the top of it in the very midst of the whole city. This was perhaps thousands of people are watching there. This is the right time for you to do something and prove to the world what you have come for. Why should you wait for another 3.5 years? Go through all those problems, all those tiredness, hunger, travels, persecution, attacks, allegations, hiding. Why should you go through all these things? Come on, do it now so that you can take a shortcut to achieve and accomplish for what you have come for. Immediacy. Come on, do it. That's the temptation. Because you know you have the protection. You are not going to be harmed. But you know what? Jesus trusted, not listen to the Satan. Because he knows there is a timing, there is a way, there is a journey for him. I trust the Lord. I don't want to test the Lord, my Father. I want to completely surrender myself to timing of the Father. Luke chapter 1 verses 6 and 7. There were personal challenges, family challenges, professional challenges. With all that, prayers are not answered for all these years. But yet, they were following the Lord. Waited patiently, now always. So probably this to serve in the temple and burn the incense comes once in a lifetime opportunity. And one day it came to Zechariah. For all these years, for the time to serve, to have, he had a heart, he had a devotion, he had a commitment, he had a surrender, everything was there. But the timing and God has not come. A disciple always lives in the awareness of the timing. He may not be aware of the timing, but he wants to always follow the timing of God. You know what? Hurriedness will rob of all the richness in life. But instead of hurriedness, we have to learn to be having restedness in the presence of the Lord. Because when we have restedness of our soul, our life will be more richer. We can live a life in favor of God and in favor of man. So reject immediacy and accept trust. Third one, Matthew chapter 4, verses 8 to 10. The third principle for radical discipleship is reject popularity and choose worship. Jesus was taken to this mountain top and showed all the kingdom of this world, and the glory, the power, the resources, the wealth, the cities and the towns, the splendor and the beauty and everything in it. And Satan is saying, all these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship. All the temptation will come with very beautiful packaging to us, which is actually going to meet our immediate needs. Therefore, we need to be very, very careful. You know, this is what the rulers of this world also does. The Caesars, the Pharaohs, and the Hitlers, and the Herods of this world, they seem to have attained all the power and the popularity and the eminence by trampling the laws of God. Not because they don't believe in those things, not because they don't want to accept those things, but they want somehow popularity, position, and power and influence. They have to trample down the laws of God, the faith, and accept the ways of the evil or the Satan as their Lord, as their master of them. Remember, Herod did that once. Not that he was against their way, he was against their teaching, or nothing that. He wanted to be popular. He wanted to please the majority. Who is the small little group? I can just trample them down, finish them off. That's what the leaders do, because they want power. They want popularity. A true disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ will choose worship and reject popularity. He chose obedience more than efficiency. He chose trust more than immediacy. He chose worship above popularity. This is what it means to be a radical disciple.